Fine. So I've just started the recording so that if at all there are those students who are not in a position to attend the class directly, maybe by using the recorded video, they can go through the concepts which we have discussed in today's class. Okay, so I'm assuming that every student is updating the record. So please don't wait for further instructions wherein you don't again tell us or complain us saying that we have not given enough time. Okay, so technically speaking, all the concepts which are related to C++ object oriented programming lab are completed except files. So leaving files and leaving the other program, possibly that user defined exception. So leaving these two programs, make ensure that you are first understanding the concept, and if at all you are you are missed out, you are not present during the classes time, make ensure that you are getting the running notes of the of those classes that you missed out when we were interacting physically in the classrooms. And if the concepts are those things which we have started with the online platforms, then you can go back to the recordings and you can probably listen the lectures once. Okay, so only after understanding the concept, make ensure that you are executing it specifically by taking the online compiler, which is a GDB compiler. Now here, that there are students who don't have even computers. So for them, what I recommend is, I have already insisted you to have a collaborative learning approach, wherein your other friends, I think they have already started sharing the programs. So you can probably copy the entire code, but make sure that blindly don't copy and execute. Okay, so understand the concept, what is happening, and do the changes wherever you are willing to test. Wherever you are willing to test, you do the changes, and cross verify whether those changes, whatever you are doing, are getting replicated in the outputs. And at any point or at any time, wherever you are getting any doubts or need any clarifications, um, I think there are students who are mailing to me. So instead of mail, I recommend you take the upcoming classes platform and then start discussing those doubts. Okay, so that will be a proper way of or proper approach for studying the logic based courses like this. Please respond. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Let me check the list of participants. Exactly 49. So there are 11 students who are absent. So as a usual practice, you start dropping the roll numbers on the chat box for your attendance. All of you, please drop your roll numbers on the chat box in order to consolidate your attendance and enter the attendance in the online attendance system of our college. Somebody has not entered the number properly. 1, 2, only 2 digits you have entered. Okay, so in today's class, shall we proceed? Let me go
Sir,
through. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, somebody is saying something. Yes, please go ahead. Somebody is saying something.
Sir, I told just yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Quick list of absentees. List of absentees on my desktop with cross verifying your roll numbers. 138, 138, then 140, then 146, 147, then 151, 157, 157, and then 160, 161, 164, 172, 170, after 172, 180. Okay. Yeah, I think Nikhil, he has not joined with the roll number. You drop your roll number. Okay. Fine. So let us understand what is the concept of a namespace. Okay, so namespace in a C++ environment. Shall I proceed? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
yes, sir.
namespace in the C++ environment will allow the scope or the region to be classified, the region to be defined, in which the visibility of any of the programming entities such as variables or functions or classes are accessible. Okay, so let me again repeat. Namespace is nothing but the logic of representing the visibility scope or visibility region of the variables or the functions or the classes also. Okay, so that can be given access only within a specific region. So you can classify from which region to which region. That means from which part of the code till which part of the code a variable or a function or a class is accessible. And if you cross that region, then all those variables or functions or classes will not be accessible. On the other hand, if you want to reuse the same variables in other scopes, then you need to redefine or recreate a separate namespace. Okay. So I know it is not so easy as I have told. So let me take up an example, and then you will probably appreciate the importance of namespace. So let me start sharing the content of web page also. So is the Chrome is visible? Is the Chrome is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. We crossed China, right? Okay, so so assume that you have a variable. Let us say you have a variable a is equal to 2. Okay, and you want to access this a within the namespace. So you can define. So let me use using namespace. Notice that we are already using a namespace which is std semicolon. That means whatever we are coding in this entire page, which is a source code editor, we are using a namespace of standard input console. Okay, so standard namespace. This is called standard namespace. Now, what is using? Using is called as a directive. Okay, using is called as a directive, and it is also possible to create a local namespace on top of existing namespace. So already there is a namespace whose namespace name is standard. Now let me create a namespace. Let us say my region 1. This is my region 1, and within this namespace, assume that I am creating a variable int a is equal to 2. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Let us write a main. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll define int x. Now I want to access a, but I cannot access a simply like x is equal to a. If I do that, I'll get an error. See out, let us say x, and then ndl, and then return 1.
Sir, yeah.
So
Yes.
come again. By default, it takes. So x is equal to a, you will get an error because a is not accessible. Whose a you are talking about? I want to access a. Notice that a is not a global here. A is kept at global, but you are creating a separate namespace. So to reach A, you have to take the permission of region 1. That means through region 1 only you can enter. So what is A? A is nothing but region 1 scope. A. Okay, so this is where again you use the scope resolution operator. So if you compile now you will get correct. So x is equal to 2. Okay, am I clear? So this is a simple concept of namespace, but quite commonly 2 marks questions with predictive outputs are asked. Okay, so you need to make ensure that the variables or functions which are defined within the namespace are accessible by using the scope resolution of your namespace name. Okay, clear? Let us assume if I have a global variable also as int a is equal to 3. Okay, so now if I say x is equal to scope a. Okay, so x is equal to scope a, or directly if I write x is equal to a, will I get 2 or will I get 3? Or will I get error?
3. 3. 3.
You will get 3 because it is a global. Okay, so you will get global which is 3. Right? Now assume that you have a local. Let us say you have int a is equal to 4. Now what will you get? 2, 3, 4.
4.
What will you get? Yes, what will you get?
4, sir.
Yeah, the
4,
answer is
sir.
4. The answer is 4 because local fellow dominates global. Okay, so now assume that I want to access only the local, sorry, only the global. So how do you do that? Scope. By default, which scope? Standard namespace based variable a. What is that value? 3. So x becomes 3 now. So if I compile this, now I'll get x is equal to 3. Clear? Now assume that I want to have access to internal A of region 1. Then how do I do that? You need to say I need region 1's A. So now I'll get 2. Now I'll get 2. Okay, so this is the concept of namespace where it is possible to define the same variable within the namespace with different address across different namespaces, and also can be redefined locally and also can be redefined locally. Now also notice that if I write x is equal to A plus scope A plus region 1 scope A, then what will I get? I'll get 3 plus 2 plus 4,
9.
which is nothing but 9. Okay, so I'll get 9. So if I execute, I'll get 9. Clear? Now assume that I'm using another namespace and I want to reuse the same variable in region 2 with a different value. Let us say again int a is equal to, let us say 2, 3, 4 is over, let us say 5. Is it allowed? Is it allowed? The answer is yes, it is allowed. It is allowed. Okay. So only thing is, to access region 2's 5, you have to use scope resolution region 2. That means region 2 scope resolution A. So after this, let me print the value of region 2's A is equal to region 2 of A and then NL. So what I'll get on line number 21, I'll get the value as 9. On line number 22, I'll get the value as 5. Is that clear? Let us compile this. 9 and then 5. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. Now, sometimes it is very tedious for the programmer to explicitly write the namespace name with the scope resolution. So, in order to avoid this, you use using, where using is a directive. So, we have been using for using the namespace of standard, which is in line number 2. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we use using, now notice that using is not a keyword. Using is a directive. So what I'll do is I'll say that using namespace instead of standard, I'll say that I want to use region 2. Okay. So that means the next part of the code, wherever I'm using, let us say, wherever I'm using the variables, for example, A, then whose A I'm talking about? Region 2's A. So what I'll do is I'll comment all this. I will comment all this and then I will say, okay, this also I have to comment. Okay, so there is int x. Let us assume that x is equal to, if I write A, then which A I am talking about? Is it region A or region 2? Region 1 or region 2 are global?
Region 2.
It becomes global now. It becomes global now because you have a global also. Okay, so assume that you don't have a global, then it becomes region 2. Okay, so if you print C out, let us say x is equal to x will be 5. Clear? Am I clear? Now if I keep global also, then will my global will come or the region 2 will come? Which will come?
Global.
There is a conflict here, isn't it? There is a conflict. So because x is equal to A, reference to A is ambiguous because which A you are talking about. On one side you are saying that there is a global A, on another side you are saying that from here onwards you are using region 2. So you have to explicitly use region 2 scope or you use scope. So if you use scope, it becomes global. If you use scope, let us compile this, then it becomes global. It becomes global. On the other hand, even though you have wrapped the namespace as the default namespace as region 2, then in order to access A, because there is the same variable as that of A, which is already there in global also, then you need to use region 2 scope. Then only you can able to fetch 5. Clear? Is the concept of namespace is clear? Now we have been using so far in line number 2 using namespace std, specifying that the rest of the code wherever we are using cout and cin, all those objects, they are all you are all saying that you are using the namespace of standard, which includes standard input and standard output console application. Okay, now notice that using is called as a directive. Using is a pre-processing directive. Using must be used in order to specify the namespace. In order to specify the namespace. Okay. So also notice, as long as you are not changing the namespace, it is going to retain that definition. And once you are creating another namespace, then it is overwriting the existing definition. Clear? Am I clear? Am I clear?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now next is, it is also possible to create a nested namespace. Something like region 1, probably you can assume like region 1 is Telangana, and inside region 1 you have region 2 which is Hyderabad, and inside region 2 you have region 3 which is let us say Mehdipatnam. Okay, then in Mehdipatnam you have A, outside of Mehdipatnam you have some other A, and outside of Hyderabad you have some other A. Likewise also you can use. Are you following?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so let me take one simple example. What I'll do is, maybe I'll use a different variable because A is too much here. So let me take a namespace, maybe region 3. Inside region 3, let me create another namespace of region 4. Inside region 4, let me create int int b is equal to, let us say int b is equal to 20. Outside of region 4, I'm using again int b is equal to, let us say 10. Okay, fine. So now I'll go to main. So what I'll do is, try to print b. First of all, is b is accessible? No. Is b is accessible? No, it is not accessible. B is equal to. Okay, so whose b you are talking about? If you compile, you'll get an error. Without taking the permission, you cannot access B. Okay, so now let us assume I need what is that? Region 3. Region 3 is B. So if I write region 3 is B, then I'll get 10. Then I'll get 10. Now on the other hand, if I use region 4, but region 4 you can access only when you enter into region 3. That means you have to take region 3 scope, again region 4, scope B. Now you will be accessing 20. So this is how nesting of namespaces can be done. So B will become 20. So this is very rarely asked in the exams. What is the significance of using? What is the significance of using? Using is a directive which will direct the environment variables to set at a specific namespace. I repeat, using is a directive which is a pre-processing directive that is used in order to set up the environmental variables or functions or classes to a specific namespace. So using must be used in combination with the namespace followed by the namespace name. Okay. So namespace is the portion of code wherein the specific access to all the programming entities such as variables, functions, and classes can be given. And the same variables, same functions, and same classes can be reused all together with a different meaning or with a different values in another namespace. So that is the advantage you will get in namespaces. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, having said this, let us also look at some of the or one of the example of usage of a function. So what I'll do is I'll keep two namespaces. Then let me keep yeah, yes.
Sir, please hash include conio.h and namespace are similar or same.
Hash include conio.h and namespace. No, they are different. Okay, there is a compiler version. Hash include conio.h is required in order to use console input output functions in your application. And this web-based compiler has not been compiled with the pre-existing library of conio.h. So if you write hash include conio.h, you will get a error saying that there is no such directory. Okay, that means this web page compiler fellow has not integrated conio.h because there is no need, because you are using a web page user interface. So the conio.h library is not required for web page. Now conio.h and namespace, they are different. Namespace is a concept. conio.h is a header file. In conio.h, you have functions which are getch, clrscr, and getche. Getche is also there. Okay. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us revisit the entire concept by sharing a function. So what I'll do is I will write probably you consider the region 1 as let us say a square. What I mean to say is I want to find the okay, fine, let me take A. I want to find the area. So let us return integer. Get area is a function. Okay. So in this I will return A into A, which is the area of the square. Now in region 2, what I'll do is assume that this is a circle. Okay, so what I'll do is I will use get area again, int get area of, okay, so let me return 22.0, okay, 22.0 divided by 7 by r square, so that means A into A. Okay, so notice that you have now same function now in two namespaces. Right? Okay, so let us take area here as a variable. Though I am taking it as a integer area, there is a default implicit type conversion which is happening in the calculation. Okay, so let us assume that I want square area. Square area is equal to. So where is area? Where is get area? That is in square. What is the name region? That is region 1. So I need to use region 1 scope get area of. Okay, so this is how you explicitly access a function which is whose definition is different in two different namespaces, but having the same function name and with the same return type. Notice that this is not dynamic polymorphism. This is not the polymorphism also. Of course, you are looking at a different polymorphic behavior, but this cannot be linked with your polymorphism concept because what are you accessing is different. Okay, so similarly, are you following? Are you
Yes,
following?
sir.
Now let me again display area as the second region, region 2, scope, get area of, and then NL. Now this is here, the area is pi r square. Okay, so if I compile this, technically speaking, I have to get different areas. So let me initialize this with 0. So first fellow is 4, second fellow is 78. Clear? Let us also check whether is it possible to return different data types. Okay, so first has to be integer, second has to be float. Check that. The answer is it. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Tell me. Yes.
Sir, you are returning float now, sir. How it can be answered, sir, in time? How it is getting executed?
Yeah, now it is getting executed because in region 2 explicitly you are calling, right? That is the advantage of namespace. On the other hand, if you write cout, let us say I'll write area, and if I write get area, then you don't have access at all. Whose get area you are talking about? Now what I'll do is, let me compile this. I'll get an error. Because which get area you are talking about? No, not which. Get area is not defined in the namespace. Which namespace? Standard namespace. Why standard namespace? The default namespace that you have considered is the standard namespace. So having said that, let us write intentionally one float with get area of void, and what we will do is let us simply return 0.0. Now what happens? Will it execute? Will it execute? Yes or no?
Sir, yes, sir.
And what value you will get? You will get 0.0. You will get 0.0. Clear? So this is the advantage of namespace. Let me again repeat. Namespace is the concept of classifying the portion of your code to segregate certain programming attributes such as variables, functions, and also classes to be confined under one specific region, so that the same variables or same functions or same classes can be reused in any other regions. Okay, and in order to eliminate the usage of scope resolution operator every time, for the sake of programmers benefit, we use using directive by using which it is possible to wrap the entire namespace as the default namespace, unless otherwise the same syntax by using any other namespace is being reiterated, which is overwriting the existing namespace. So at line number 2, you have already specified that your default namespace is standard. Then till here, everywhere the default namespace is standard. Now let us assume that if I am using here, if I am using namespace, and if I use let us say region 2, or let us say region 1, that means this get area what I have implemented is this get area what I have implemented is in which namespace? Namespace 1. That means I need to remove this, otherwise I'll get an error. Are you following? Now if I compile this, I'll get an error because this fellow is fine. Region 1 get area, line number 31 is fine. Line number 32 is also fine. But line number 33, you have two definitions. Get area, you have get area here, which is in region 1 you are saying. The same get area definition in region 1 you have again redefined. Are you following? So if you compile this, you'll get an error saying that there exist multiple definitions. There is a call of overloaded get area, which is ambiguous. So in order to avoid this, what has to be done? You have to either remove this get area which is within this region 1, or you remove this get area, or you remove the region 1 itself. Okay. So let me comment this fellow here, so that I can technically demonstrate that it is possible to swing between one region to another region. Let me again repeat. In line number 2, you are in standard namespace. Starting from line number 4 till line number 12, you are in region 1 namespace. Then you are in region 2 namespace. Then from 23 onwards, you are in region 1 namespace only. All those programming entities, such as variables, okay, are functions. Now here if I declare int x is equal to 10, then this x is in which namespace? Which namespace?
Region 1.
This x is
Region 1.
in region 1 namespace. So in programming here, in order to access x, first let us compile this. If I compile this, now here I'll be getting 0 at line number 33, and at line number 35 also I'll get 0. Whereas at line number 34, I'll get some value, which is pi r square. What is this? Get area is not a member of region 1. Region 1 get area. You are using namespace region 1. Okay. You need to probably define the prototype, function prototype. In region 1, is it int or float? Float. Get area of void, and then you have a function definition here. No, it's not coming. Okay, this is making a problem. Undefined reference to region 1 get area, which is at line number return 1. Leave about the functions as of now, but remember the concept of namespace. Let me retain the other aspects. I think till here. Okay. Right? So let me compile this. Okay. So is the clarity of using is clear? And have you understood the usage of namespace? Can somebody please come in? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so now let us move on to the next topic. A special emphasis on the macro substituted functions. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll comment everything from here. Oh, sorry. Here, let me comment it till here. Now again, I'm starting afresh. So please pay attention. Assume that you have a macro substituted function. Let us say you have hash define your cube of x. Let us assume that you want x multiplied by x multiplied by x.
Sir, what is meant by macro substitute? What is meant by macro substituted function?
What is meant by?
Macro substituted function, sir.
Yeah, that is what I'm discussing now. Okay, so when you write a preprocessor directive with the hash define, okay, instead of a primary constant, if you write a function, then this function is called macro substituted function. This is called macro substituted function. So there are some important points that you need to understand here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll directly print cube of, let us say, 3. So what value will I get? Will I get any error? Will I get 27? Will I get 3? Or will I get 3.0? Or will I get 27.0? What value will I get? Yes?
Maybe 27.
Yeah, the answer is 27. Okay, so a macro substituted function is nothing but the direct substitution of your code which is written as a part of your function. Okay, and also notice that you are writing a macro substituted function, you don't have to consider the data type. You don't have to consider the data type. But here there is another interesting anomaly, that means a side effect. So let us assume that you are declaring a variable int a, and assume that you are writing a is equal to cube of let us say 2 plus 1. Okay, so now let me print cout a. Okay, so at line number 44 I'll get 27, but interestingly at line number 47 I will not get 27. Instead I will get probably 7. I'll get here 7 or 7 or 8, whereas here I'll get 27. Let us execute this and then let us understand what is happening. Yeah, 27 and then 7. Okay, so why is it so? It is so because it is a direct substitution at line number 46. So that means you are saying that a is equal to cube of 2 plus 1. So in the place of x, you are substituting what? The expression 2 plus 1. So that means what A becomes? A becomes 2 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 2 plus 1. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What happened? All of you are sleeping or what? Akshay, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah. So 2 plus 1 will be getting substituted in your expression. Now here precedence of operator will take place. So here what happens is A will be now 2 plus this 2 into 1 is again 2 plus again 1 into 2 plus 1. So this again means A is equal to 2 plus, now this 1 into 2 will take place. That means 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. So that means this is equal to 7. This is a very important concept. So notice that a macro substituted function does not use stack. It is a direct code substitutor. It is a direct expression substitutor. This is point number 1. Point number 2 is wherever you have an expression, that expression will be getting directly substituted in your macro, in your function macro. This is called function macro. Please notice that this is also called as a macro function. A macro substituted function is a function which you are writing with hash define. The advantage is the usage of macro substituted function will improvise the speed, execution speed, because there is no function call unlike the other regular functions. That is point number 1. Point number 2, so as a result, it will be very fast. Point number 3, you are not using stack. Point number 4, implicit default direct typecasting. So in line number 46, you are typecasted with 3. Now let me, so after printing this value of A, let us assume that I want C out. Directly I'll write cube of, let us say 2.4. Now which typecast it will happen in 48? It will automatically take that into double. Okay, so I will not get 2 into 2 into 2, which is 8. I will not get 8. I will get exactly 2.4 multiplied by 3 times, which is 13.824. Are you following? This is very important. This is a very important concept. Macro substituted function does not require any data type. The data type will be implicit. Are you following?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, you told the stack will not be used now, sir. Then
Yes.
1 into 2 and 1 into 2, there is a precedence in that
No.
expression, sir.
Wait. What I mean to say is, when there is a function call, you are not using, but when there is an expression evaluator, you have to obviously use.
Yes, sir.
When there is a function call, it is a code substitutor. It will not use the stack. But when there is an expression that needs to be evaluated, which is use case number 2 of stack, so there you have to mandatorily use stack only. Okay. So did you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So another point is a macro substituted function has to be written without data types. You cannot write int x here. Without data type only you have to write. Okay, so if you are using a macro substituted function in line with the code with a regular C++ expression, then that may yield to side effects. Okay, example is line number 46. Your intention is to find 3 cube, but you will be ending up with 7, which is not 3 cube, because your precedence of operators will come into picture. So in order to avoid this, you have to be very careful when you are formulating. You write brackets in the macro substituted function also. Then what happens? Then you are substituting like this. Now it will be 3. Now it will be 3 cube and 3 cube. Now you will not get any problem. So here line number 44 you will get 27. Line number 46 you will get A as 27. So that means you will get 27, 27 and 2.4 cube. Have you understood? Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so okay, having said this, anybody has any doubts? Anybody has any doubts?
Sir, Nikhil is using chat box, sir.
Yeah, ask him to use. Probably you can read it out. What is that?
Which is efficient, sir? Inline or
Yeah,
macro substituted
that is
function
the,
is he's saying.
that is the one I have. I was expecting. So that is a very important question. Okay. So we have already studied the concept of inline coding or inline function, where we have used inline, which is a direct code substitutor. And here is a method where I am again rediscussing the entire code substitution by using a macro substituted function. So what is the difference? There is a small difference between these two. In inline function, okay, in inline function, the programmer has to explicitly provide the data type. In inline function, the programmer has to explicitly provide the data type. Whereas in macro substituted function, the data type will be implicitly typecasted. Okay. So the data type will be implicitly typecasted in macro substituted function, whereas in inline function, the programmer has to explicitly specify the data type. So that is the only difference. And other than that, that is also a code substitutor. This is also a code substitutor. So wherever possible, it is always better to use a macro substitutor instead of inline procedures. You use inline procedures strictly for limited code substituted policies, which are specific to either specific data types or to specific class based objects. Okay. So with this, I think we are done with the other topics which are left out in our syllabus. So officially, I can confirm that the syllabus is completed for your second semester of this course, and probably, okay, so you when you come in sixth semester or probably in fifth semester, when you take up a course on microprocessor or microcontrollers, our next academic engagement will be there in either fifth or sixth semesters, where that was my area of specialization of processors and the controllers and assembly programming of controllers and then embedded system designs. Okay, so probably in sixth semester you will have a course called microcontrollers, and in seventh semester you will be having a course which could be a professional elective course, that is a embedded system course, where we will start programming ARM processors. Okay, so that's all from my side, and officially I am confirming that our syllabus is completed. Yeah, somebody is saying something. You are welcome to throw any open comments. Anybody, please come in. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So how was our academic engagement for the last 1 year? Okay, and yeah, we still have 3 more classes probably coming week. So what I have planned is we will have a discussion either on previous year question papers, or I'll take up some of the programming problems and then we will start solving it if you don't have any doubts. So first I'll give the priority to take up the doubts. So starting from unit 1 till unit 5, we will run through the entire course, and whichever student is in need of any topic that needs to be repeated, please capitalize these upcoming 3 classes to get your doubts clarified, to make ensure that your concepts are cleared, and validate or understand the technicality, and understand the logic behind formulating the solution for a given computing problem. So that will be my highest priority. That means ultimately students has to understand. Okay, so making sure that you come up to the next class with the specific doubts. Okay, and if you don't have doubts, then I'll open some of the questions which are which needs a little reasoning, and then formulate the logics, and I will open those questions to the entire class, and then we will start solving it. If still you don't have, if still we have time, then we will look into previous year question papers, and then we will also understand what aspects needs to be written as a part of assessor point, so that you also will understand technically like how to answer in the external examinations. Is that okay? Or you have any specific things you have it in your mind, you can tell. There is a topic which is still pending, which is files. As of now, we have considered not to cover files because there are issues, because files cannot be executed on online. It requires a offline compiler, and then usage of F-Stream. So therefore, we won't be covering files, but files are very important. So normally when you use any embedded operating systems such as Android, you require a file system like NTFS or NFS, network file systems. So there, the file system based objects, we use the object reusable concepts of C++, and the entire operating system kernel is coded in C++. Okay. So with this note, I think officially our journey of a little journey towards the large C of both C as well as C++ is completed. Anybody has any specific comments to say, you are welcome to tell, or you are all keeping quiet. You have to tell something.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir. Anush is using Chatbox, sir. He's asking that does namespace work in Turbo C++ compiler?
Yeah, it works. It works. Check it out. It will work.
Okay, sir.
Any other doubts?
Sir, one
Sir,
day in
you said
lab.
that you will conduct second
Yeah.
lab internal.
Exams, what is there? Your exams, you write it as an exam. What is there? Why are you running the exams?
Sir, no, sir. Through WebEx, if one more person shares, then the other person must disable sharing, sir, screen sharing.
No. That modalities, we will work it out. Ultimately, what is required is I need to assess the students. If there is a problem in WebEx, what I will do is at that time, anyway, see, it is possible to copy. So, okay, so from my side, please be informed that we are conducting it because officially we have to conduct it. I'm again repeating, we are conducting it because officially we have to conduct it. Conduct what? Exam. But is it an exam? It will be exam if you take that exam as an exam. Are you following? Are you following?
Sir. Sir.
Are you following? Okay, so with a conversation of probably 5 minutes or 10 minutes, also it is possible for me to assess the level of your competency. Okay, so don't worry. Like if you use chat box or some other things to share the screen with others, you do whatever you want to do, you do. But if you are at the end of the day, if you are clear in terms of the concept, if you are in a position to apply the same concept, if a new problem is given where tomorrow you are getting employed, then it is okay. Whether you have copied, whether you have created, whether you have constructed, whether you have analyzed, whether you have designed, anything is fine for me. Did I answer?
Sir,
Did I answer the point? Nobody is talking.
sir, Nikhil is
Yes, sir.
answering in
Yes,
the
sir.
chat box, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the list of programs that are for lab internal are from 34, sir.
We will stick to the concepts. Whatever I have given as a list of programs in the lab index, let us give that as a high priority. What is there?
Yes, sir. Starting from 34 or even the previous concepts.
Let us concentrate on 34. Why? Because you immediately, once you return, because I said it will be second lab internal exam. So because lab, other than internal exam, you are supposed to write even theory internal exam also. So the reason why I am also pinging those students whose performance is less than 50% first is because it will be like a triggering alarm, so that they can start at least now to start practicing the programs and understand the concepts. If not still now, at least now also they can start. That is only my concern. Okay. So coming to lab 2 internal exam, as you said, at number 37 or 38, from that only you start. That unit 3,
Okay, sir.
4, unit 5. Concentrate on mainly templates. Okay, so then you have what? Inheritance. Very, very important. Inheritance is extremely important for EC graduates. Inheritance, templates, linked list, stacks and queues. Okay, so it will be hardly some. You require a preparation of. You don't need a preparation if at all you are in the journey. Okay. Any other things? So how was how are our classes? How are our classes? Our engagement of all around 85 to 90 classes we have took. I have took for the entire one year. So did you? Nobody is saying what happened. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, Akshaya.
Sir,
Yeah.
going good, sir.
What to tell? What to tell? Tell anything. It's okay. Fine. So let me stop here, and I think it is getting recorded. What I'll do is probably I'll stop recording. Then probably you can start speaking. I'll stop. I'm stopping recording.